Narcissists are known for their many toxic patterns of behavior in this life, but one of the most sick and twisted toxic behavior of a narcissistic person is their projection. In this message, I want to talk about narcissistic projection, just how bad it can get so that you can protect yourself and not allow narcissists to drive you absolutely crazy with it. My name is Kevin, and this is The Royal We. Now, before I do continue, I want to let you know that I'm here to support you. Down in the description box right below this video, you'll find access for one-on-one appointments with me. I take telephone calls and video calls through Zoom, FaceTime, and WhatsApp. Also, the Royal We private membership is available for you, where you get daily support not only by me, but a growing community of people from all around the world. I have a workout program included for you. There's also fellowship once a week where we open up the Bible together and see what it says about narcissistic abuse. So much more, all in the privacy of a members-only app. So head on down to the description box. You may have to open up the description box below this video. Find the resources there for you. Now, let's get into this topic of the most sick and twisted of narcissistic patterns of behavior, and that is their projection. This projection we're talking about is when narcissistic people take all of their ugliest patterns of behaviors. We're talking their rage, their name-calling, their yelling, their screaming, their violence, their hostility, their anger. And instead of being accountable for these things like a normal, healthy person would be, they project it onto you. They throw it onto you. Essentially, they're blaming you and accusing you of doing the things that they are doing. It is the most weird and absurd thing that you will experience when dealing with a narcissistic person. It's the ultimate, I didn't do it, it was you. You're the one that's doing all that stuff. It's not me, it's you. And it can absolutely drive you crazy. I first stumbled upon this narcissistic projection before I even knew what projection was, just like many of you. In fact, if you're watching this video right now, it's because you've experienced something that you cannot even comprehend, let alone have a word for it. Maybe you didn't know it was called projection. But let me give you an example of what this looks like. You could be having a conversation with maybe a narcissistic family member of yours, or an ex, or a partner, or a friend who suddenly blows up at you, yells at you, screams at you. And you leave the situation maybe to calm down, to diffuse the situation, to not make it any worse. And so you walk away, and maybe you come back a couple hours later or the next day even, and you say, hey, the other day when you were yelling and when you blew up, and they look at you and say, that was you. You were yelling and you were screaming and you were blowing up for no reason. And it's like your brain is being fried right there as you're looking them dead in the eye, and they are just bold-faced looking at you with 100% conviction as they're looking at you, saying, that was you. You're like, wait a minute. No, I know that wasn't me. In fact, I'm the one that walked away from the situation to diffuse it. And then they might say, well, no, I walked away. I ended it because I couldn't deal with your nastiness. Some people in my coaching career have actually been called narcissists by the narcissist. Again, it's projection. When I was dealing with the narcissistic in-laws in Southern California, again, I didn't have a word for this. I didn't know what was taking place, but I was being accused of thinking I'm better than everybody, even though these words never came out of my mouth. I was accused of being hostile and aggressive. I was accused of being mean. I was accused of all of these things while they were the ones that were calling me names and attacking me using hostility, using violence even though I didn't let them touch me, but I can see it in their faces, the anger. And it was beyond my comprehension. I'm going to share with you a real-time example of something I experienced, and this was very typical when I was dealing with the in-laws. There was a summer party, and I shouldn't have even been there, but I was. I was having some food, right? And there was some water slides, and people were playing in water, so it wasn't a big deal. But one of those family members ran up to me and threw water on me, acting like it was an accident, but it was on purpose, threw water. And so I got up, and I'm like, what are you doing? I was eating my food. Yeah, come on, you didn't have to. And another one of the family members from their family came up and said, Kevin, are you starting problems again? How many of you have ever experienced something like this? It's almost like the bully at school, that one bully that likes to go around and push people and then run behind the legs of a teacher and point at the person and say, that person's trying to hurt me. This is what projection is. It's very odd behavior. It's sick and it's twisted. This is why I call it sick and twisted. Now, the all-time question people have is, Kevin, do they do this on purpose? Are they doing it on purpose? And it's interesting because I think yes and no. I think to some extent, this particular type of behavior of projection is part of the illness, if you will, of narcissistic personality disorder. Remember, when we talk about narcissistic personality disorder, there's going to be things about the way that they behave that makes no sense whatsoever because it's in fact a disorder. That's why they call it a disorder. It's in fact an illness. There are illnesses out there, disorders, whatever you want to call it, where people act in these bizarre ways. It's almost like part of their brain is just non-existent or fried or broken or something. Whatever the case may be, they really are convinced that you are the one that's creating these problems, although they're the ones doing it. Now, what this does for a narcissistic person, by the way, is it creates a feedback loop for them. So if you ever notice when you're dealing with narcissistic people, their anger and their rage continues to grow and build against you. And it doesn't matter how nice you're trying to be, doesn't matter how much you're trying to diffuse the situation, it's growing towards you. And you're telling them, please stop being mean, please stop being nasty. And they're saying, you're nasty to me, you're the one that's being mean, but they get more violent and they get more hostile. So by being able to blame you, by being able to project onto you, it creates this feedback loop. They get angrier and angrier because they truly believe and they convince themselves that you are creating the problems, that you are the one that needs to calm down, that you are the one that's yelling, that you are the one that's starting all the fights. So it justifies their bad behavior and it continues to allow it to grow. It's the ultimate feedback loop. It's exactly where narcissistic people want to get you, in their feedback loop. It's sick and it's twisted, but it doesn't end there. This is just the basic stuff about projection that we are talking about, but there's something that's even more scary, more sick, and more twisted about it. Are you ready? You see, while narcissists are projecting all of their ugly behaviors onto you, creating that feedback loop which justifies their anger and their rage and allows them to continue to abuse you in various ways, what's even worse is that they are projecting your kindness and your efforts onto them. So it's as if they're looking into a mirror and you don't exist. How many of you have tried to calm a situation down with a narcissistic person? How many of you have been face to face with them as they're huffy and puffy and yelling and screaming and raging, and you're trying to calm them down? Maybe you're trying to remind them that you care about them. You're not trying to start a fight. You love them, whatever. You're trying to calm them down. What narcissists are actually doing is they're projecting that kindness onto themselves. They believe it's them saying that to you. I know right now you're scratching your head saying, Kevin, what you sound like right now is it sounds impossible. It's not possible. How can they take the kindness that I'm trying to show them and take that onto themselves like it's them? Listen, I'm not here to tell you that it's easy to understand. It's not. It's scrambled my brain trying to figure this out for a long time. But it's the absolute truth. Narcissistic people don't even see you. It's like they're in a game of one. You are not a separate individual. So all of their raging and yelling, it's coming from them, obviously, but it's like it's being spoken to them. And all the kind words of you trying to calm the situation down is also in their mind coming from them, to them. It's really wild. Now, I didn't realize just how bad this was until years passed on after I cut myself off and I went no contact with the in-laws. One of the most important things you have to do when this is taking place. You must go no contact when you are being projected on. If they are blaming you for the things they are doing, you go no contact because it only gets uglier and more sick and more twisted from there, I promise you. But years after I cut myself off from the narcissistic in-laws, I did reach back out because I was trying to gain some understanding as to what was taking place in that relationship dynamic. I was trying to see if it was possible for us to ever have any kind of a relationship or get along. I think you can understand where I'm coming from. I think many of you have been in that same position where You want that one last opportunity to see if you can understand them. And in that discussion, this narcissistic in-law that I was talking to actually said, Kevin, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember ever being mean to you. I don't remember ever saying a bad thing to you. And then this person went on to say, as a matter of fact, Kevin, I remember sending you messages, letting you know I loved you and I cared for you. In fact, I remember sending messages where I asked you if I could pray for you. And my heart just sank and my mind just scrambled. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? And I think I gave the right response. This is what I said. I said, can you please show me these messages? Like, why don't you copy these messages and paste them here in this conversation so we can look at it together? Because I don't think that ever happened. In fact, I know it never happened. And as I researched and I went back through our messages years prior to when I used to engage with them, and this person was being mean and nasty, guess who was really the one saying, hey, I care about you. Hey, let's work this out. Hey, is there something I can pray for you to help you through this time? It was me. That was me to them years ago. This was probably what allowed me to know, is all I needed to know, that that person, not only have they not changed in life, right? Many of you are wondering, can narcissists ever change? No, they get worse. And the more you try to seek whether or not they can change, the more twisted it becomes. That's when I realized that not only did they project all the negativity onto me, but every effort I made into that relationship, they projected that onto them. They truly believed that they were the ones being kind to me, reaching out to me, trying to care for me, asking if they could pray for me, letting me know that they loved me. And what's sick is they believe it. Probably to this day, they believe that they were those kind, loving people praying for me. But I can literally go, and I often wondered, what if I took these messages and I sent it to them so they can see it? Listen, here's you and what you said. You're ignorant and you're selfish and this and that. And here's what I said. Listen, I care about you. I don't want these fighting. Can I pray for you? What can we do? Do you see it? Like I almost want to like grab their faces and make them look at it. I'd be curious to know if they actually were face to face with their nasty behavior towards me versus my attempts and my efforts to try to save the relationship from burning. I wonder what their response would be. How many of you have ever gotten that far with a narcissist? Have you ever been able to like actually grab their face and say, look, here's what you said. It's right in front of your face. I'd be curious to know, right in the comment section down below, what the response was. How does a narcissistic person respond when they're faced with the facts of their own words? I'm curious to know. I wonder what excuse they would come up with. Chances are they'd probably say, I don't want to see it. It doesn't matter anyways. It doesn't matter. But the point of this is to say that it just gets uglier. If the projection of them projecting onto you all the horrible, nasty things, if you think that's bad, just wait until you discover that all of your good efforts that you tried to put into that relationship, they project that onto themselves. That's right. Every kind word, every I love you, every let's work this out, every time you said I don't want to fight, every time you said can we please get help, every time you said can we seek counseling, every time you tried to save that broken relationship, the narcissistic person, people you're dealing with, have in fact stolen these things from you and projected it onto themselves as if that was them saying it to you. So you see, the bottom line here is that you can never get along with these narcissistic people. There will never be a happy ending with them because not only have they projected onto you all of their ugliness, but they projected onto themselves all of your goodness. And that's what you would be up against. You literally would have to walk back into a relationship with these people and say, you're right. I am the horrible, most hideous person. And you're so excellent. Your excellency. But nobody's going to do that. Let's get real. So it's better just to cut yourself off from these sick and twisted, delusional, narcissistic people. Don't have anything to do with them. If they are projecting onto you, that's your warning right there. That not only are they projecting onto you, but they're also projecting onto them your good, positive qualities. Don't give them that. End it now. And if you need help, I'm here to support you. As I said before, down in the description box, you'll find access for one-on-one appointments with me. Telephone calls, video calls are available. Don't hesitate. Head on down there, make that call, as opposed to staying in a toxic relationship, dealing with this nonsense. It will drive you nuts. It will scramble your brains. Don't do it. Contact me instead. Also, don't forget the Rowie private membership is available for you. So gain access to the private membership and all that's there for you. I'll be back with more videos for you right here on the Royal We. Be sure to subscribe to this channel if you're brand new. That's the only way this message gets shared. Hit the like button and the bell notification so you don't miss any future Rowie content. Share this video with somebody who might be dealing with projection right now. Check out one of these videos recommended by the YouTube algorithm. And I'll be back right here on the Royal We. Bye.